everybody, it's Dara, and I am thinking, what kind of raw food friend would I be if I didn't show you again how to make these beautiful raw chocolates so that you can liberate yourself and have a little piece of chocolate whenever you want. Now, I want to tell you that I don't just eat chocolate for chocolate's sake. I eat it because it gives me a lift. I eat it because I use it as the vasodilator it is. It also has a lot of magnesium, but I use it as the vasodilator that it is. It opens up the arteries, so that way if I put in my medicinal herbs like reishi mushroom, which lifts the heart spirit and levitates us, and chaga, which is an immune boosting herb, and these adaptogenic herbs that help our bodies and us deal with the stressors of daily life. So adaptogenic herbs are what they call dual directional. They'll go in any way our body needs them, and they really do work. I am here to tell you that I am a huge believer in supplementing our diet with minerals such as shilajit, which is minerals from the Himalayas, and using these traditional herbs, whether they're Ayurvedic or Chinese herbs, to help our bodies combat stress and to also make it possible for me to follow a raw food diet. I want to mention that Ramania, who's been on this channel and with our family a couple of times, he's amazing. He came out with a book explaining about raw food and qi and using Chinese herbs. So I'm going to post the link below. He's an amazing human being. And Chinese herbs, or herbs in general, have helped me to be able to stay on the raw food diet. They warm me, they do certain things for my organs, they help any number of things. And one of the ones that I'm really into, I'm going to get to showing you how to make the chocolate in a second, but my latest and greatest find is rhodiola rosea, and it is good for improving our mood. It helps transport serotonins and tryptophan, and it also is good for muscle recovery after a workout. So it's good for mood, muscle recovery. It's good for our thyroids. It helps boost our thyroid if our thyroid is slow without causing hyperthyroidism. It is known to be anti-tumorous. That's even a word. It shrinks tumors. Rhodiola, R-H-O-D-I-O-L-A, rhodiola. And it's good for our thyroids, and that's just, it's an amazing, amazing plant. So what I do in my chocolates is I always have some herbs. Now what I'm going to suggest to you is go to visit shamanshack.com, visit jingherbs.com. I'll post links below, and you find what's good for you and use your chocolate to carry these herbs, because why not have the treat and have it be medicine as well? That's how I look at it. So basically what I've done so far, I'm going to tell you what you need to make chocolate. You need coconut oil, extra virgin coconut oil, and I have some in my jar. I used half a cup of that. I used half a cup of raw cacao butter. I get a huge bag from Essential Living Foods. You don't have to get quite so much. They're selling it at Whole Foods these days, but it's basically the oil that's been, the butter that's been expressed from the cacao bean. The cacao bean's like a bean, and so the cacao powder is what's separate without the oil. So I'm going to use the butter and the coconut oil, cacao powder, and then we need a sweetener. So if you want to be low glycemic, please by all means use stevia, liquid or powdered. I use a little bit of honey and stevia, that way I don't have to use a lot of honey, but I use a little bit and a little bit of stevia. You can use coconut sugar. The only problem is that you really have to stir it when you're pouring it into the molds, because the sugar is heavy and it will sink to the bottom, but I've used it. So then I use a pinch of salt always. I usually use ground vanilla bean to counteract and do like David Wolf says, the cacao is the male energy, the yang, and the vanilla bean is the female, the yin, and they balance each other beautifully. Sometimes I'll use cinnamon, sometimes I'll use mint. So you could do whatever you want with your flavoring. And basically the idea is you take, this is what I use a Pyrex glass dish, and it's known as double boiling. You don't ever get water in the oil, that's important. And basically you're going to heat up the water so that the cacao butter and the coconut oil are liquefied. The coconut oil will liquefy easily. The cacao butter takes a little bit more time. So our liquids go in here. So I'm going to put some honey in. Okay? So maybe you want me to measure. People like when I measure, I'll sort of measure. Really what you have to do is to your taste. It's kind of silly for me to measure it out, but I will do that. I'll use 3 tablespoons of honey. And if I need to boost the sweetness, depending on how bitter, and I pretty much put reishi mushroom in every batch of chocolate, and that's bitter, so it gives a bitter edge to it, which I really like. But today we're going to use a little bit of shilajit. It's very strong, so 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon is plenty. But I'm a big girl, I'm going to use 1/4, and I'll put it in my powder mix. So depending on how many powders, like what if, let's say you want to be smart and you want to get your brain going, use rhodiola, and also maybe get some lion's mane capsules and open them up and put them in there, ginkgo biloba, put whatever you need. My hands are sticky. Okay, so that's already, this is also, the cacao butter is an aphrodisiac. Let me tell you, it's like, just put some on your skin. It's beautiful. So we have that. Now what happens is that you want to add the powder a little bit at a time. And this 1 cup of liquefied oil, yes, and butter could take a number of tablespoons of cacao. In my mind, I'm thinking it's going to take 12. So what I like to do is I have my whisk, my baby whisk in my hand, in my left hand, and I will just put some in and stir, because you really want to, actually want to do the other opposite way. I want to stir with my right hand. What you want to do is you want to whisk it while you are putting it in so that you don't end up with big globs. Clunks of cacao isn't so bad, but if you have a clunk of reishi, that's not so fun. They're kind of harsh. So that's 2. And really, if it's not enough cacao, it'll look kind of thin. And when it's enough, it gets kind of thick in the right color. And the only way to know is to literally put it on the back of your hand and taste it. I'll put a couple pinches of salt, because that'll bring out the sweetness. And it gives it like a chocolate, salty, sweet thing. The thing is, and then what we do is we just pour it into molds and put it in the refrigerator or the freezer, and that's how fast as it takes for the oil and the butter to harden is how fast you can eat chocolate. Now these are not tempered chocolates, so they're not going to be shelf life chocolates. They're going to stay in your refrigerator, but that's okay, because it gives you that little thing to have at home, and they're fresh and they're lovely, and I just think it's empowering to be able to make your own chocolate, totally a mood elevator. So, I don't know, was that 3? You guys are counting? 4. Maybe that was 5. I'm going to say it was 4. Now it's starting to get a little bit thick, but not enough. I'll show you. What I have figured out, and this is a handy little trick for you, is that I put the mold, this is a soft mold, I love it, and 4 elements, I don't know, this is what I put it on my cutting board, so that way when I go to lift it up, it doesn't get floppy and it doesn't go all over. So I'm ready with that. So we lost track. You guys, somebody's counting out there. 6, 7. You go until it tastes chocolatey enough to you. The more chocolate you add, a little more bitter it's going to be. So that's when you have to add a little more sweetener. It's looking good. And it's off of the stove now. You can keep it on low. You just don't want to cook it. You don't want to keep it too high, but it'll stay nice for a while. So I'm going to put in all my little herbs. Rhodiola. I put in some shilajit. I may have even put some schizandra powder. You can get that from Ron Tea Garden, dragonherbs.com. But even if you weren't using any of the herbs, use this simple chocolate recipe. Do not get turned off by all these fancy names I'm saying. You just need cacao butter, coconut oil, or even just coconut oil. If you have coconut oil, cacao powder, a pinch of salt, and some kind of sweetener, you can make your chocolates, okay? So don't get scared. You know I just like to play in the kitchen, and I like to have my tonic herbs. It's good. It's like, so good. So, it's just not thick enough. You can see it's a little too drippy. So, I'll just add some more. And it's plenty sweet enough. So, I didn't even use any stevia. You can do all kinds of things, you know, with these herbs. You know, you've heard of them through me, the reishi and chaga and cordyceps for energy and sustanch for libido. And there's even one called horny goatweed. And another name, the real name I think is called, I know it's called epimedium. So you can do all kinds of fun things with your chocolates. Now I didn't put a flavor, I just have chocolate, so I can get my vanilla. I think that would be nice. I don't know where the vanilla is. I have a whole mess here. Maybe cinnamon, whatever's handy, but it's really nice when it's so beautiful it doesn't need anything. Really. I'm quite pleased. This might be my plain chocolate. Sometimes I use walnuts, sprouted and dehydrated walnuts, and dried cherries. I'll use mulberries, that's always fun, which I can do. I might be right back. I like to have that little sweet chewy thing in there. But I wanted to keep it simple for you guys so you don't get scared. It's very easy. So here we go. We're just gonna keep it simple. That's it. And we pour it in. We want to not have water go in the chocolates. It creates bubbles. So let me make sure it's strong enough. Sometimes when it chills, you see it looks too translucent. Okay, now I'm tasting the medicine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get stevia. And what will happen is if the chocolate is a little bitter and it's a little salty and you put mulberries or raisins or cherries in, then you're biting, you have the chocolate, but you're also biting into the super sweetness of the mulberry. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do mulberries because that's what I want to do. And I want one more thing of cacao. We can count later. But think of all the fun things you can put in it besides the herbs. Herbs or no herbs. Fruit or no fruit. Mangoes. I've made chocolate recipes with Charles Chen, with Rochelle, who has her company Lover Chocolates. If you don't feel like making chocolates, get hers. They're gorgeous. I've been lucky enough to make chocolates with Jeffrey Botticelli. He's an amazing chocolatier. I'm a lucky girl. Oh yeah. It's really great. I just want to make sure it's super chocolatey. That's my only thing. I don't like when it gets hard and I'm disappointed that it's not chocolatey enough. So it's really to your taste. It's getting thicker. That's good. I'm getting the mulberries. I'll be right back. These mulberries are from Matt Monarch, Raw Food World, and they're good. They're purple mulberries. Very complex food. It has a lot to offer us, the mulberries. So this is medicinal and delicious and easy. You can see how easy it is. So I'm just going to go ahead. It's just about the right consistency, and I pour it in. If you don't have chocolate molds, then go ahead and use a plastic Pyrex or a glass Pyrex dish and just layer the whole bottom of it about an inch or two thick. And then after it gets hard, you just break it with a knife and you bark. So there's nothing wrong with that, believe me. Then you take a little nut butter and you smear it on. We're having a party. This is a raw food party or a plant-based party. Please follow me on Instagram, Dara Dubinet. And if you want extra videos from me, they're on my membership site, More with Dara. I will post musings, the musings that I had while I was at the Optimum Health Institute, things I discovered, things I needed to let go of. I blog over there. I don't know. It's just this amazing community of people who are there for support. I love each and every one of you here on YouTube, and I get to know more of you over on More with Dara. It's really special. So that's for those of you who need some hand-holding, some raw food hand-holding and some more. Because some people just want more. They want to know more. They want to delve in. They want to ask questions. So here we go. Then I just put the mulberries in. I want you guys to know that raw food is not only easy, it's fun and it's doable. And you know, if you think, oh, I can't live without this, then learn how to make something that simulates it or is similar or will satisfy you. And believe me, it's so nice to have raw chocolates in the house, especially when you have someone come to visit and you say, let me just get you a cup of tea and some chocolates. Okay, these are gorgeous. I'm really happy. So I'm going to show you my other batch I made yesterday. I was interested in making one for relaxation. I used kava kava. I'm having all kinds of fun. And holy basil, which is an Ayurvedic herb, which helps the nervous system. It helps you relax. It helps brain function. I mean, why not access these thousands of years of science of medicinal things that help us? That's what I say, you know. Now we know that we need raw food to detoxify ourselves in this very industrial society we live in with all kinds of toxins and stressors. But the raw food helps us clean up our bodies and stay beautiful and young and happy and healthy and get to our heart's desires. And these herbs that we're using help us to stay raw. They help us be balanced. So I can put in some walnuts, some dehydrated walnuts or not. But in any case, oh, I thought I was going to show you the chocolates. Okay, I would like to offer you a chocolate. I would like to offer you a chocolate, but in the meantime, make these at home. Make them at home. It's raw cacao I'm using, raw cacao powder. So here is a beautiful walnut chocolate. This one has cherries and walnuts, and there you go. Bon appetit, everybody. Enjoy your chocolates. Get your greens on. Have fun, because it's a party, and I will see you really soon.
I want you to remember me, baby. Hey, hey, hey.